Ad Hoc Committee. I'm Paula Hodak, and I chair this committee. Clerk Heckman, would you please take roll?
Thank you. Yes. Good afternoon, Jojo Baraka. Here. Kayla Borgen.
Here.
Mike Borgen.
Here.
Megan Enders. I do not see you online. Sherry Graham. Also not online. Rachel Hoffman.
Here.
Paula Hodak.
Here.
Dina King is excused. Lori McEwen is not online. Marvin Nevelier, remote, I see you, is present. Thank you. Tiffany Polachek.
Here.
Blaine Peterson.
Here.
Danielle Peterson.
Here.
Sarah Reese Soha.
Here.
Chana Remarkowitz.
Here.
And Nick Trimner.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And welcome everyone on this beautiful day again. We have our minutes from the May 13th, 2026 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve or any? We need to get it on if there's going to be any discussion. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Ms. Plachek made that motion. Any second?
Seconded.
Chana Remarkowitz has seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. I jumped ahead. Let's go to our public comment. We have, I think you're the only one on the list, right? Okay. Please come to the microphone, introduce yourself and who you're representing. Please turn your microphone.
Bush. All right. I'm Robert Naka. I'm the executive director of His House of Hope south of town here. We're a residential recovery program for men that are struggling with addiction and homelessness. Can I hand these out?
Sure, have your friend do that. You can keep talking then.
So what we are,
I have one.
and our impact so far, we've been open for under 2 years. What we do is in-house residential, so they stay there for 9 to 18 months being reformed. And then under those 2 years, we've seen 23 men come through the program and 12 of them are back in the workforce at this moment in time. We've seen 3,300 days of sobriety underneath the house. And what we do is that we take these guys one-on-one. We get them to anything from eye, dental, mental health to substance abuse counseling, mental health, court, family court. We work with the jail and the police with the IPS program in the past. We get them to church, AA, NA, celebrate recovery, and parenting classes. But also one of the things that I do personally is I take about 16 to 20 hours a week to counsel these guys one-on-one through treatment plan, success plan, and then also through the Genesis process. We teach life skills such as budgeting, time management, reading, writing, family classes, interview and resume, and job retention. It's a 3-phase program. So the first phase, there's no cell phones, there's no work. They're limited to the access telephone at the house that they can call approved family members. And what they do at that time is that they work on the basics of their life, where the root of recovery came from, how they can work through that, and then working through some of the trauma as well that may have caused that addiction to take place. Right now, we're only men's facility. I'd like to, in the future, open up a women's facility and also a youth facility with this program as the staple. Phase 2 is where they start part-time work. So they're working on the stuff at the house, the treatment plan and success plan and personal studies they have to do at the house, but then they're also working too. And we only do part-time because I want to see them transition into a proper fulfillment of who they are and the role that they need to have. And then phase 3 is more of a transition period because we're going to be working more on housing, getting it furnished, full-time work, and having them be reintroduced to society without strict accountability. There's still accountability once they leave the program. They can call, they can come and talk, but we kind of let them see where they're at first. As Dimitri handed out, this is just a brief, like who we are, what we are. We are established 501c3, and we've been around for about 2 to 3 years. 3 years as an entity, 2 years as open. And currently we have 7 men in the program. and we're killing it. I think we're doing a really good job for the community and these guys, and seeing these guys go into back into that fatherhood role is a very important part of my life. And my mission is to see these men successfully become fathers that their children's need. And I've worked with 3 men now through the court systems in various counties, and this to see that happen, to get visitation and placement. So, or we're just going to keep on striving to get that. And I don't have a detailed, like, this is the amount of money I'm asking. I'm the only staff member on hand. So it would be nice to have more staff as well. So probably over the 3 minutes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
No, well, we'll just, if you're interested, I mean, I think this would be a good time, other than having Robert come back next month and put him on the agenda. If you have any questions right now, just kind of, and if not, we can have him come back as well. So if it's a little too early for you or whatever. Kayla, you look like you want to. No? Okay.
The only question, I know you, and at the end you says, because this group is, their job is to allocate funding, is there, I mean, I know you're saying there's no specific amount, but give us like a ballpark that the group could discuss when they're looking at budgeting the total.
Well, a staff member is about $43,000. So if I could have a staff member for a year, I can push these numbers of impact higher. I only knew about this meeting 2 days ago, so I've been scrambling to get to it, to be honest. So if I could come back next time and have a more precise ask, I could do that as well.
I'm okay. How about everyone else feel? Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be good to have him come back. That would give us some time to maybe come up with some questions as well.
good. And then they can do the research, like I quickly was researching this morning, just like what's going on here. So,
Yes.
okay.
All right.
So thank you so much.
I
And
appreciate it.
we'll be in touch.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone online? Nope, nope, nope. Any communications from the group here, from the committee? At this time? No? All right, we'll move on then. Office of Administration updates. Mr. Nick, there you are.
Yeah, so kind of getting back into the swing of things. Last meeting, we all introduced ourselves. We kind of said how the impact of opioids is part of our careers or our jobs or our day to day. I took some notes. Obviously, we have the meeting minutes that kind of outline in general the thought that people were putting forward. So I think part of this committee, as you know, we only get so many times to meet before we have to have something to the Health and Human Services committee to move forward on this. I guess it's kind of a budgeting process of allocating the money. But so we have 5 total meetings. We're on our second one. We're up to 5. So I think the goal today is kind of, when we go through the list again, or go through each department, is you had the opportunity to kind of give some thoughts last month. This time, if you have more specific programs you might have thought of, or even additional thoughts, to start putting ideas out there. I don't necessarily think we need numbers today. You know, you don't have to be, I think $5,000 for after school programming. That's not what today is yet. We got a couple meetings to do that. I don't know if you want to go. I made a short list of kind of what I heard. When behavioral health was speaking, it was difficult to get people to the programming and keep them there. So like possible grants for room and board, for the going to the treatment, children and youth, make treatment more appealing to go to and continue to go to, stick with it. There's also high cost of drug testing supplies, working with this. The human services, it really just came down to the caseload and burnout. So is there a way to assist with that? Health department, education to reduce the stigma, harm reduction, getting into the school system, needle collection, harm reduction with that. Coalition, money for prevention at events, so more education when events are happening. Lock boxes, Terra bags, I wrote down. The medical field, more education to the youth, get ahead of that. get ahead of the addiction with the youth and with others. Detox facilities, which that's a big ask. Narcan availability and education. Law enforcement, body scanner for the jails so that we don't have incidents in the jail with items getting in there. I heard afterwards, because Blaine, you weren't here, it was from you, the court, the drug, was it considered drug court? Drug court was one that, oh, it's on my list. I just got to go to page 2. Drug court. Also a drug testing machine. So something that indicates whether there is, would be more fentanyl, but something in the drugs. The schools talked about education, which came also out of the health, human services area, education, who you can go to as trusted adults. So training for maybe those adults and staff. So a third party coming in to do kind of presentations, whatever it might be at the schools. And then today I added the His House of Hope, so a recovery program for opioid abuse and homelessness. So those are the ones we talked about the first time. Obviously, you had some time to think about it, go through, talk to your staff, whatever it might have been. So again, today, probably try to narrow it down a little bit more or give us more detail on what those programs or a thought that you might have would be a good start. Any questions? And then you should have in your packet, because at some point we'll have to go through and say, do these, whatever we're going to recommend, do they fall within the allowable expenses? I was looking through it this morning, and it is a little bit more broad than what we can generally do. So if I was just working with Health and Human Services on their budget and someone said, oh, I want to give to with the food pantry is the one that the state stepped in, but we as a county can't just give money to a food pantry. It has to provide a very specific outline service for us to, it can't be donations. So we have to be very cautious on that. This in the allowable uses does look a lot broader than what we are used to working with. So that'll be helpful when it comes to, if it's, education, it's pretty broad, or other areas. So be aware that's the list. At the end, we have to make sure and almost highlight, like, this is where we fall under this category and why we want to give X dollars to do that type of programming or giving. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you, Nick. So let's move on to 4 medical centers. So these are the folks on the committee that weren't in attendance in May. So we're going to give you a chance to speak, but I think, as Nick was saying as well, if someone else has something to add to those from each of those categories, please feel free so we can get them down on in the notes and figure out what we need. So let's just go right into the opioid impacts on community and areas of work. Aspirus, I don't think Dina King is here. Neither one of them here. Anyone else from those areas that would like to speak, that you've thought of something differently or wanted to add to? That'd be you, Mike, I guess, huh? Nothing to add? Okay. Okay, so then we'll go on to number 5. That would be law enforcement. Again, opioid impacts on communities and areas of work. The police, Phillips Police Department, Lieutenant Blaine Peterson. Please use your microphone.
So you just want me to talk about the
Yep.
opioids?
Whatever, how it impacts, what your part of the job.
We see it all the time in drug use, deliveries. We're seeing opioids in our methamphetamine mixed with it. It's a daily thing that we deal with as far as drugs go. Do you want me to present what I brought?
Yes,
Okay.
that'd be perfect.
So as Nick had said, we were looking into 2 things: the adult treatment courses through Wellness Court. So I reached out to Forest County and was able to get their numbers that they have as far as funds. So they also do a grant-based, and then Tribal also puts into their Wellness Court. The other side of this was a piece of equipment that I think would be very useful for law enforcement and also the court. So it's a thermo-scientific TrueNarc Delta handheld narcotics analyzer. That's the name of it.
That's a mouthful.
And it's so it's used for comprehensive testing of over 1,200 substances, including narcotics and precursors and cutting agents. It continuously updates the library inside the unit, which goes with the emerging narcotics trends and threats. It's contact operation, so it requires officers not to have direct contact with the substance. It provides clear real-time results for presumptive evidence, and it'll also get us through a preliminary hearing when it comes to court. So what that means, what it does, it identifies the drugs, presumptive evidence, leading to quicker cases, resolutions, and helping drug offenders access treatment faster. So this is kind of twofold with the drug court and this tool. I think we can speed up the movement to treatment or help. Basically, this equipment is quick, safe, and accurate identification. It's helping save lives and protect law enforcement officers. This company's been in business for about 10 years. Total price on this unit would be, with a 2-year warranty, about $38,000. So I can provide the information I got for the wellness court through email or present it later.
That'd be fine. I don't know if Meredith, if you need to have a copy of that.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, if you could do that. Any questions for Blaine?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So for the device, is it something that would be available to city sheriff's office and city, like countywide, or is it each department has to have their own?
I believe this device could be shared.
Okay. That'd be good. Any other questions for Blaine?
How does it, does you just use the substance that you're testing, or how does it test?
It basically just, you hold it over top of it and it analyzes it.
Huh.
Sounds simple enough, easy enough. Any other questions? Any other comments, Blaine? No?
I have one question. Would this replace the drug hood stuff? Would it be like all encompassing? Because I know that was one request where it was like, we have an issue where an officer could potentially open a baggie of drugs. There would be an aerosol or aerosol. It would go up into the air and they would sniff it in. So like, would you need that and this, or would this, do you know how it?
No, this would take care of
Okay.
that. And I know Vilas County received one, and they love it because your risk of exposure is limited.
Okay. Well, thank you, Blaine. If you can get that information to Meredith, that would be great. And then if anybody's interested, Meredith could send it out to you if you want to read up on it a little bit more. So let's move on to school districts. I don't believe Sherry Graham or Megan Enders are here, so we'll reach out to Rachel Hoffman. Any changes or additions that you would like to make, Rachel?
Nothing new today.
Okay.
I have one clarification for the schools. When we were talking about third party, like bringing in speaker, are we thinking all schools in one location or bring something into each school? What works best?
It usually depends on the speakers. Sometimes they have a certain number of people that they will speak to. I know that we did partner with Shawamigan for a mental health presentation, and so brought our middle schoolers up to Glidden, I believe. So we do partner on different things with the school districts, and we would be willing to do so or host if it came down to that.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Any other questions? Any questions for Rachel? I mean, she is representing schools. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Rachel. Okay, let's move on then. with Number 7, discussion on potential use of unless somebody, before we go there, anybody else from the committee here that wanted to add more to what you had said or simplify it? Or Mike, I see you reaching for your microphone.
I just was gonna ask you, so like the children in school, is there a certain age group that you see affected more than the others, and what would be a good target there?
I mean, quite honestly, I think we need to hit our kids at the end of elementary school and heading into middle school, because that is the time frame where I'm seeing students are having a little bit more unsupervised time. They're by themselves a little bit more. They have a little bit more independence. And I'm finding that if we don't get to them by 6th grade, by 7th and 8th grade, I would say I have experienced students who may have been experimenting with drugs already. And so the earlier we can get to them, the better. But it doesn't hurt for, middle school and high school kids also to get the message, but truly to get the kids at an earlier time, just so that they're aware. And if somebody offers them something, that's usually the way it works. Like somebody, oh, hey, do you want to try this? And they don't know. And so like giving them tools so that they can be prepared for those peer situations that they might be walking into.
Any other comments? Nick, nothing? All right. Let's go on to number 7 then, discussion on potential use of opioid funding. The door is open. Nick, I'm going to grab that one for you.
Yeah, so you have in the packet the actual list of uses. It's several pages. I don't think today we have to come up with that list by any means. This is, again, these meetings are meant to be short and sweet and get you thinking for the next one so we can move on, move quickly through the next one. But if there are, questions today, or even like as a group, the list that we're putting together, or that I kind of talked about, is that where this group wants to head? Is there other areas we're missing? Is there concerns with, we don't know prices yet. I know Blaine had brought up one value, but I can't remember our total. We have like 200 and some thousand. That goes away. It's not, we don't get 200 every year. We get 10,000 going forward, or I'll bring them, make sure to have the numbers for next time, the exact numbers. But we have a big chunk up front, and then we have each year we'll get a small portion for the next several years. So when we're thinking about how to come up with a distribution, we don't need to know perfect prices. So like, for example, if it was education for public speakers, it doesn't have to be like, well, this speaker is $3,208. We know on general a speaker costs approximately $1,500. We would like to make sure at least each school has an opportunity to bring it. It might be all together. It might be in each school. So we want to set aside, $5,000 for that. That's kind of the next meeting, is how we want to start putting something in place. A lot of it's going to be hard because there's a lot of different areas. It sounds like education's a big one, right? For all areas, and whether it's the school, whether it's health and human service, whether it's the coalitions, whether it's staff or whatever it might be. So it's, I don't want to say we have to start jockeying for where it goes, but eventually it has to come down to that. And I know based on the list, the two biggest things, most expensive that are achievable, a recovery center on its own, we don't have millions of dollars to open one, start one, maintain staff, do all that for the region. But the sheriff's department, I knew based on prior conversations that the hood / now drug testing machine, that's $40,000. We talked about the body scanner, that's $150 plus a yearly maintenance, and maintenance we could do as a county, but those are big items that are going to could potentially, if recommended, eat up a lot of that upfront money. So just be aware, like it goes faster than you think. Even if you start doing 5,000 here, 5,000 there, it adds up pretty quick.
So I have a question, because we do have a community entity here with interest of the funding. So how do we handle that? What are we going to, are there going to be guidelines for how that will be handled? Is that written in the Schedule B? I mean, I read through all that, but I don't know how that's going to be
Yeah, it would be in that acceptable list.
acceptable. Okay.
So like, and I don't know a lot about His House of Hope besides what was spoken here. I mean, I've heard of it. So it's-
Sure.
but just basically looking at it, you know, if I said today, if this wasn't opioid money, we would have a very difficult time sending money there, because it would have to be a very specific service. It would have to be a certified service. Those are the concerns, right? So Sarah and I work on this all the time, where it's a specific group will come forward and say, well, we would love $5,000 a year to help with the program. Well, unless we have specific clients that are, you know, fit health and human services service that they're providing a certified service for, we can't just donate funding. Based on this list, I haven't looked through it perfectly. It seems to be a little wider, because even I saw it earlier. There was one where it was like support.
Or support people in treatment and recovery,
Yeah, but-
including.
Yeah, but again, I don't know the certifications that they hold. I don't know the level of, you know, we have to be careful.
Right.
Again, we're a small
Right.
community. We know the groups where if you were in a big community, I could come forward and say, oh yeah, I have a treatment place. Oh, cool. It's Nick's House of Hope. He's got treatment there. And
Right.
here's 10,000. It's the certification. There was one in there too.
What page are you looking at?
Page 26, I just
Okay.
engage nonprofit and faith-based communities as systems to support
Right.
prevention. So this isn't really prevention, but this is future prevention. You know, again, we'll
Clarification is.
have
yeah.
to look into, is there certifications? Is this, you know, just run through I believe it's through the church, if you want to nod or not, but I don't. You know, what's the background
Mhm.
of how this works, and if it falls within the guidelines. So
I just wanted to get that out so that, you know, it's clear to people, and maybe as clear as mud, but at least you're making those statements, and because this is what we're working with. And so when we're approached by this is what we need to make sure, like you said, are we working with certified staff? Are we working with areas that are going to hit
and if
the
we don't
thing?
have, I don't, you know, if it doesn't have to be someone that comes through Health and Human Services that we say, here, you should go to this service. So if it's not needed to be like a pass through, that opens up the door too, you know. We'll have to ask
Right.
some of those clarifying to the opioid program.
I
Go
have a
ahead,
question
Tiffany.
too, as
Yes.
far as like how nitty gritty do we have to get as the committee here? I know we can look at prevention, harm reduction, education, things like that, but are we going to be looking at like, I'm just going to use it for example, public health, you guys are going to do education, you can give $10,000 to do education or whatnot, or does it have to be like, no, I want $10,000 for billboard, this for radio, blah, 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 blah.
I would get a little bit more detail, but not nitty gritty. Like, so like if you want to do, because one of them is campaigns, fund media campaigns to prevent opioid misuse. I would say that's a program you're creating. We intend to do media campaign, which includes billboards and whatever. You don't have to give me or give the group or the board for approval, like what that looks like exactly. But in general, we would like to put $3,000 towards a media campaign. I think the more we try to put on the list, the more the details are going to be, because that's when the board gets to voting for it as a whole. Once there's a little bit of, is this one better than this one? Or if there's 200,000 available and there's 300,000 in requests, they're going to need more details to narrow it down to their priorities. Where if there's $200,000 and there's $200,000 in requests and they all sound like, oh, media campaign, some equipment, the drug court, put this much towards it. As long as, what I don't want to do is say, oh, I need $10,000 in drug court, and the group goes, okay, let's budget $10,000, and it's $27,000 to do it, because now we dug ourselves a hole, right? We can't do it, and we've just allocated money that is not going to go to waste, because we'll have to bring it back and reallocate it. But, you know, be realistic. get enough detail so we can understand the programming rather than just, I want to do education. Well,
Yeah, I think
same with the schools. Like when we write it up, it'll be, it sounded really good, right? Pre middle school or right at middle school. So 5th and 6th grade or 4th through 6th graders. We want to do third party speakers to the kids. We want also some staff education, which could be a separate program. So it's like, I wouldn't try to lump it all together and go, schools get 10,000. I would say speaker 10,000 for school, 2,000 for bringing education for the teachers. Those costs. We don't. Same with health department. If there's, I was thinking like the needle program. I know we have it already. So also the other thing too to be aware of is you can't supplant. So if you already have a budget at the school for public speakers, that's $10,000. You can't go, cool, they're going to give us 5,000 in opioid. We can lower that by 5,000 and do something else. You'd have to still say you're going to do 10,000 in other speakers plus 5,000 that was given. So it's more of a grant than a offset. That's for everybody.
If we have like through the coalition and we get like the SOAR grant to help us with harm reduction things, but that's only usually gives us funding for portion of the year. And then you're kind of,
Yep. So you could
we can do it
match
that way too.
So like if you knew, I'm picking on the school because you're my line, but school goes, oh, there's an opioid grant that's $10,000, but we have to do 80-20, so we need $2,000. That'd be a great option to say, cool, for $2,000, school's gonna get 10,000. What I'd be careful with is if we're already putting levy dollars towards something. So this goes back to our side is, we know we have to do these programs. They cost $100,000. We get an $80,000 grant. We're not going to just say, cool, save 20, because that's supplanting. It would be, oh, we run out of the money. We stop the program in July. Well, let's get some more money so we can go from July to August or through the summer, whatever it is. Yep.
So, and realistically speaking, the buck doesn't really stop here because we do have to make sure that we are in compliance with whatever all of the
what I would hope is this group comes to a list that's within compliance. So you're doing all the narrowing down for the Health and Human Services Board, because otherwise we'd have to be doing this all in front of the Health and Human Services Board. They already have 2-hour meetings, 4.5 meetings. They don't need a 3.5-hour meeting, 4-hour meeting each time to go. So the goal is that this is the user group, the affected group, the community group that's going to know. They should come up with a good, concise plan. But it could get to the Health and Human Services group and they go, this doesn't make sense to me. I think it should go towards, I don't know, whatever. Something different. Sure. And they could change things. So don't get your heart set on this is the final once it comes out of here. But obviously our goal is to narrow it down, to vet it, to get it to a good list. Health and Human Services would then put their stamp on it. It still has to go to the full board as like a budget.
And they
could
be a change too.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Not to discourage anybody.
Yeah.
This is,
and that's why we're getting in. You want to get into
how
the
it goes.
detail of what you're requesting, but it doesn't have to be to the dollar.
Mhm.
I want to do billboards. Well, average billboard costs $3. You do put a simplified budget together. You don't have to go out and talk to the vendors and try to get a speaker's name and who it is. It's that type of thing.
So, I guess we're going to be talking about this the next time too, and hopefully we might have something from the folks that weren't here today. Maybe they have more to say as well to add on to that. And then we'll add agenda items. Anything more that we should do for number 7, Nick?
No, I think the biggest thing for number 7 is just please start to prepare kind of that detail. So at the next meeting, what I would like to see is, okay, we have a generalized list now. Obviously, if you think of something new or extra or different, bring that. We're not limited to what we talked about so far.
Right.
But at the next one, let's start to get a list and, for the piece of equipment, I'll put down, I can't remember if you said 35 or 38 or whatever. It's like, we'll put a general like 40,000 and let's just get everything. We're not going to worry about how much total we have, but just get everything on the list. From that list, then we can get that distributed and say, as a group, we have to work together and prioritize, and you can't mark yours number 1. You can, but we'll have a weighted system. Or
It's like
something.
setting up your Christmas list a little
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah.
Yep. So let's
So-
set it up so we can all digest it, and then we'll have. So next time, hopefully numbers.
Okay. Anyone else is your hand waving there, Tiffany? Okay, go ahead.
Is there any way to reach back out to some of those that haven't been in attendance? Just so that we can make sure that all areas are
Yeah.
getting.
I'm
some
wondering if
input?
Meredith, if you could contact them and just have them come on remote. The
Sure,
ones
yeah.
that aren't here, just, I mean,
Mhm.
if they could give a report that way, that would be good. I feel like we're missing that as well.
Right. And they have been on the email list for the agendas and the quorum calls.
Sure.
So, and a couple have been excused due to work
Sure, I
commitments.
understand
Yep.
that.
But I will
Even
reach
if-
out.
If you
Even
could
if-
send an alternate otherwise.
Exactly. If they can't speak, then maybe someone can do their bid for us to get at least an idea, so we're feeling like we're touching every area.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
I can
thank you.
definitely reach out to them.
Thank you for that, Tiffany. Yes,
And I can reach out and just see if they want to set up 5 minutes to
sure. That'd be good too.
rehash the last 2 meetings.
Anyone else? Mook? It's a trigger finger I keep watching.
I just had a question. Is there any like data, either the police department or social services that says, this amount of money was allocated for this kind of thing in this department versus this department? I'm just trying to think like, how do we prioritize? What are the biggest areas that drain that?
Yeah, and it's a good question, because I would say, like, the sheriff's department, we don't say, here, you get drug money. We have the DARE program for the sheriff, but it's not, we know here's $100,000 to, they don't do preventative. Let's say it that way. This is not a dollar amount to say educate and prevent. It's a different group, right? And for health and human services, there's so many programs and so many grants and so many, I don't think I would look at like who gets it now. So we should go, well, health and human services, you get $1 million a year from the state, don't get more. I think I would look at this as just all fresh programs and say, what do you think is going to make the biggest impact to the community, rather than they already got money or they don't need more money. I would say, how is this going to impact the community? And in each one of your opinion, what is going to move the needle the most with the money we have?
Yeah, don't hold
Further.
back. Don't hold back. Just put it out there, So, Megan, Kayla.
Sarah and I had talked about, this isn't exactly prevention, but it kind of goes off of like the room and board. Like I was like 5 AODA assessments a year. Now that when people are quartered to do AODA assessments, usually they're not covered anymore. And they can be pretty costly. And so it doesn't allow our clients to get AODA assessments unless we pay for them. And we don't necessarily have money to do that. So it stops kids from getting home sooner because we can't get AODA assessments. So something along those lines of like
Okay.
5 AODA assessments a year that we could pay for or something would be helpful.
That's thinking out of the box, and that's what you need to do, is put all those down. Anyone else on that? Okay, so let's move on to agenda items for next meeting. So I believe Mr. Knack has asked to be on the agenda for next time. So my question is, this is now going to be out there even more so than not. And what if I receive 10 agencies or businesses or whatever and are we going to invite them on the agenda as well? Or how do we handle that?
Yeah, that would be it's up to the group. We can add everybody that requests. I think it would be easier if requests came through, and I have no problem putting His House Hope on the agenda. They came and you guys have more questions and want to hear more potentially about it. It's usually a little easier if like requests come through board or committee members. So like if somebody has a relationship with somebody that does have a request, it's like that individual on the committee should bring that up, and then we can always request it. Oh, sure, that sounds like a priority or interesting. We would like to hear more from it, because I don't want to get to the point where it's just like everybody gets on just to get on.
Right.
It should come through a committee member.
So committee members, you're going to have to be kind of a little hard-nosed on this and make sure that you
Or cognizant of who's asking.
right, cognizant of it, because it's going to be hard because we're all local and we know a lot of the people and, you know, sometimes you just have to make sure that you say, this is opioid related. I mean, that's, first of all, that's the key word. Correct. So that's how we'll look at that. So, and as far as, we don't have to come up with agenda items right now. You can run them through me or Nick and Meredith, and we can get back to you on that. Any comments about those? All right. Well, our next meeting is July 8th. And thank you all for being here. Have a good day, and the meeting is adjourned.